Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to our Advanced Professional Coach preview call. I am super excited about talking about this next level program that we just launched in the fall. And with our first cohort, which was our pioneer cohort, now we are launching into our first cohort that's not the pioneers. But the exciting thing is we'll be building on what we've been doing over these first few months. Everyone that we're inviting into this call has gone through our certified personal and executive coach program. So you are coaches, you are committed to training and professionalism. And my guess is that you're curious about this program because you're ready to take your coaching to an even higher level. And that is a big part of the inspiration for why we decided to launch the Advanced Professional Coach program. So I'm going to introduce two of the faculty in the APC program. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the inspiration for the program. And then we're going to talk about the classes that they're teaching, because what we want to do in this call is kind of give you a sneak peek into what makes this program different and why you would consider it if you are already a certified personal and executive coach. There are a lot of reasons. And if you're anything like me, one of my top 5 strengths is love of learning. You love coaching, and the idea of taking your coaching to the next level, of up leveling, is important to you. That doesn't mean that you aren't already proficient as a coach. You are. We prepared you in that way. But what does it look like to continue in the profession, to go deeper in learning what it looks like to really master coaching? So I want to introduce Lisa Sansom, who I know you know because you've been in CPEC, and L. Michelle Smith, who you may or may not know because she's fairly new in teaching, but she is also a CPEC graduate, which I think is amazing. I'm so proud that we've got a few now on our teaching team who are graduates of the CPEC program. So Lisa, I have known since I want to say 2010, maybe.
Something like that.
We both graduated a year apart from the Master of Applied Positive Psychology program at the University of Pennsylvania. We were connected by a mutual friend, Senia Myman. Senia is amazing. If you've ever heard of the book Profit from the Positive, if you haven't, pick it up. And Senia was like, you've got to know Lisa. She connects everybody in the positive psychology community, and she does. Lisa is a founder of the Canadian Applied Positive Psychology Association. She started as a teacher, which I think is why so many love her teaching style inside of CPEC. She's been a professor. She's got an MBA. She's got her MAP degree, and she's about to be Dr. Lisa Sansom. I am so proud of you, Lisa.
You
And it's
will.
amazing. Yeah, it's been amazing to work with you. Now, 2 years ago, when we were still working on what would this program look like, Lisa came down from Ontario, and we met along with Sheila Carmichael about what the program might look like. And like Elle Michelle, she is one of our content contributors that helped us create the content for this program. So Lisa, I've said a whole lot, but why don't you say a few more words about yourself and why being a part of APC was important to you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all those very, very kind words. You're making me
Okay.
like totally blush over here. Um, like you, Valerie, love of learning, top strength. I actually, funny story, just a couple of days ago, I went through my bookshelves and decided that there are some books that I'm not reading anymore. And so I got rid of, I didn't count them, but I'm going to guess it was close on to about 40 books, and my bookshelves are still full.
That would
This
be
is
me.
the love of learning. And one of the reasons I really wanted to be involved with the advanced program is because of that love of learning. One of the top questions that I hear from people when they finish with CPEC is, how do I keep my learning going on this? And
Yeah.
you and I were driven by degrees and certificates and credentials, and some of those, like degrees, are very expensive. And we knew that there were things that coaches could be doing out there in the world. They could be learning more. And Valerie, you and I were both drawn to positive psychology because of the research base that it forms for coaching. And we know the research is always evolving. And so I wanted to be a part of that advanced program to help our coaches keep learning, stay on top of the research, expand their skills, and get things that they're going to have difficulty finding somewhere else, because our coaches love learning. I love teaching them. We have amazing coaches. And so this program was really important for me.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you're a part of it. One of the things that is different about this program, and one of the reasons we felt it was something our students and our graduates really wanted, is because, as you know, when you go through CPEC, you end up with about 69 coach-specific training hours, right? You need 60 to get to that first level credential. But for those who are actively coaching and wanting to go to that next level ICF credential, you need 125 hours.
Mm.
So when you finish APC, you have that. And even for those who've gotten additional coach training elsewhere, when they're ready to go for their MCC, you're going to need another 75 on top of that, because that's 200 hours. So this gives you an opportunity to add to that coach training requirement if you are ascending those levels in terms of an ICF credential. So of course, you see that other lovely face on the screen, El Michelle Smith. I've known El Michelle a long time, just like Lisa, even longer than Lisa, actually. We met in the 90s. I think it was around 1997. Gosh, when we were youngsters in public relations. And
Right.
we have a mutual mentor, and he thought it was going to be very important for us to meet, and it was. And our interests are so similar in communication.
Mhm.
And El Michelle has her master's in communication, mass communication, I believe. And I think that's interesting in part because my is in journalism, my first one. And it took me years to connect the dots that my background in communication was completely aligned with coaching, because coaching is communication. It's this very powerful form of communication that helps to move people forward. So El Michelle's experience as not only a former news producer and PR executive with some of the largest PR firms in the world, but launching her own PR practice and being an executive for major Fortune 500 companies, her entrepreneurial and marketing experience is tremendous. And then she decided, hey, I think I'm gonna try this coaching thing, which when she showed up at CTI, it's always amazing when it's people I've known for a long time. Sometimes my friends don't even tell me that they're coming to a coach training intensive, but I knew that she would make an amazing coach, and she does. So last year, I asked if she would be a part of our advanced professional coach program, particularly around a topic that our surveys showed 2 years ago that our alum want more of, which is understanding how to build more profitability, how to market themselves better, how to grow their businesses. And so one of the things we're going to talk about today is the course that she created and the contribution she's making inside of APC. So, El Michelle, what else would you like our alum to know about your involvement with APC and why this matters to you?
Sure. It matters to me as a grad, like you said, from CPEC and CTI. I saw the seeds of business and financial literacy in the CaPP Institute programs from the jump. In CTI, I was blessed to be around Kimberly DeBrule and also LaFern Kit Beatty, who taught that last part of CTI, which was all around running the business. It's so
Yes.
important. And I knew this as a PR executive or strategic comms executive. When I started my business, it wasn't enough just to know the practice of PR and comms. It was important to know how business was run,
Yeah.
because after all, we see plenty of coaches out there now, credentialed and non-credentialed, but we also see a lot of coaches flop. And the reason is because not only that maybe they didn't get their credentials and get that coach training, but they didn't get any training in what it means to run a business successfully. And this session, I think, is really interesting because we go beyond the terms. I kind of call it this a mini coaching MBA, if you will. But we go beyond those financial terms that you hear, like ROI or return on investment, and really dig into the context and connecting the dots to what that means to running a coaching practice. Now, if I were going to introduce myself, I'd tell you that I'm not only a certified executive and personal coach, but I'm also a best-selling, award-winning author, as well as a facilitator and a speaker. And I say that because there are several lines of business within my coaching practice, and that's important. There's a diversification that needs to happen that will take the weight off of you from thinking that you need to be doing one-on-one coaching each and every day. So we focus primarily on how you can be this coach, the best coach you can be, but also leaving yourself room for that body budget. And I think Lisa's going to talk about this in her neuroscience course, right? Preserving your energy. If you're worn out, you'll quit. And most businesses don't last past 5 years. That's when they're considered to be viable, especially as small businesses. So we spend a lot of time on those concepts, on how to build a sustainable business that will make you money and keep you from burning out.
You've said so much right there. And I see Lisa shaking her head too.
I want to take this class. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that our current cohort just went crazy over this content. Michelle's class is proposals, pricing, and profitability. They also absolutely loved yours, Lisa, around the neuroscience of coaching. You know, in CPEC, we can only cover, like I said, we get to a minimum of 60 hours, and there's so much more. So, we want to equip you with that, all the foundational things you need, as well as the business development inside of CPEC. But we've always wanted to teach more. And so this is where that next level comes, all the additional things that we wanted to teach. But I want to make sure everybody understands my heart around what Michelle just said. From the very first coach training intensive in 2010, the question I asked myself was, because I'd been through 2 other coach training programs, right? I didn't go through the CaPP Institute for my training. It didn't exist. And I thought, what was missing, or what was most important in helping me be successful as a coach? And I incorporated those things. So the coach training and having a clear structure for how to conduct a coaching session was very important. The research basis and the positive psychology, which was missing, which was part of why I went searching for a graduate program that I felt would kind of underpin what I was doing as a coach. But that third piece that was totally missing was the business development. I always have felt it's not fair to teach people how to coach and not seriously teach them how to build a coaching practice, how to build the business of coaching. And so you see that in CTI, you see it in CPEC, and we take it to the next level in a lot of specificity in APC. So I think one of the things that has come to us through the surveys we did with our students is some of the specifics. When we talk about how to price, when we talk about, as you just said, Michelle, the understanding of how can I really be successful. And one of the things is having the multiple streams of revenue, the multiple ways that you can deliver services through coaching, which Lisa, I know you've done with your consulting, with training. All of us have. I mean, my business itself has 8 different streams. We divide it from the Valorie Burton side and the CaPP Institute side, and they feed each other. So when we talk about what people are getting when they come into APC, I want to take a moment for each of you to kind of share from your own course why the course is important for someone who's going to the next level from just proficiency as a coach to not only professionalism. We're trying to help you get to mastery. And I'll start by sharing a couple of the courses that I created for APC. So the first one is the 3 levels of coaching mastery. This is the very first course. It's actually an asynchronous course. It's foundational to APC. And this isn't something we talk much about in in CPEC or CTI. But as I was preparing for my MCC designation, it became very obvious to me. Also, I've been trained as a PCC marker assessor, meaning that I can assess coaching recordings for that PCC level. And I realized it's like a light bulb went on. Lisa, this may have happened when you were doing your assessor training as well, that when you get to that first level, there's kind of a basic, like, you understand what coaching is and you are able to deliver coaching in that way at that minimum standard. At that next level, which is PCC, there's some things that you might not even recognize are differentiators and markers that you kind of automatically begin incorporating into your coaching. And then at that MCC level that I passed in 2023, it was challenging. I was like, I mean, I've been coaching for 20 something years. It takes humility. People start evaluating your coaching and saying, oh, I think there was a little of your expertise coming through there. And, are you listening with this certain ear? What we want in APC is for you at a minimum to be at that, what the ICF would consider a PCC level, right? You go from proficiency to professionalism. But even more importantly, if you never apply for an MCC credential, what we want is for you to understand what that looks like and to even coach at that level, even if you don't yet have an MCC credential or ever intend to. Because if you've got a diversified business, you might not be coaching enough to get to the 2,500 hour level. I was never coaching 30, 40 hours a week. So even though I knew at some point I might apply for an MCC, I was like, that's some years off because I'm not adding that many hours every year. If you're adding a couple hundred hours a year, it's going to take you a while to get to 2,500. But what we want to make sure you understand is what those different levels are. Lisa, when you created the neuroscience of coaching, which you jumped at that opportunity, can you share why it is important for coaches to understand anything about neuroscience? I know, Michelle, you've done some work in neuroscience as well. So both of you have really kind of dived into why it's important to understand more about the science. Lisa, can you talk a little bit to our grads about why this course is important for taking your coaching to the next level?
Yeah. So many thoughts. When I started coaching, like you, Valorie, I was frustrated by the lack of science behind coaching. And I was getting told by my faculty at the time, again, CaPP Institute did not exist, but I was getting told by my faculty, oh, just use your intuition. And I thought this was phenomenally bad advice because I'm a brand new coach. I have no intuition, and my intuition could be wrong. And I'm mucking about in people's lives and I'm asking them very personal questions. And my intuition was not a good answer for me. So finding the world of positive psychology was amazing because it gave me some insights. And then as neuroscience has improved over the years, just learning so much about what our brain does, how it is, I'm going to say designed, but it's evolved to react and to respond in certain ways for certain reasons. And those affect how we show up and what we do every day as the coach and also as the client. One of the first things I did about a year after getting the Master of Applied Positive Psychology program is I did a 10-day neuroscience boot camp at the University of Pennsylvania, because this is my idea of a good time. I'm going to spend 10 days of my vacation learning about the brain. And we learned the physics of fMRI machines, and we had an amazing time. And since then, some of my book collection is on the brain. And the more I read about the brain, the more it informed my coaching. Now I feel like I have a better understanding about why people might do or think things in a certain way, why it is so darn hard to change. Even though logically we know that these are the things we should be doing, we want to do it, we profess that this is the most important thing for me, and you wake up the next morning and you go about your day-to-day life. There are really great neuroscience reasons that explain that. And then as the coach, it's done two things for me. One is it has helped me normalize that. And I think that sometimes when clients come to us and they feel all weirded out, like, I know this is important, but why can't I get on with it? Like, there are really good normal neuroscience reasons for that. You are not strange. You are not weird. Your brain is doing what your brain is supposed to be doing. And then knowing the reasons for that allows me to ask more powerful questions and to help my clients structure things that are going to help them make the changes that they want to change, to help them make that difficult conversation, to help them set up the yoga practice, to help them do whatever they want. There are ways that we can work with the neuroscience that help us as coaches to help our clients. And the science is ever evolving. I mean, there's some very cool stuff out there. So it was really important for me that in this program, our coaches got to learn more about the neuroscience and what that means for the coaching practice.
And as I hear you talk, what I'm also hearing is something that we really want to strengthen for every coach in APC, which is building your confidence to deal with whatever challenge a client may bring
Yes.
to the coaching session, to have a broader perspective of what different issues or stressors or factors might be coming into play as clients are sharing and really trying to get the answers that they want. And, you know, I remember years ago, I had the opportunity, I had been speaking for a couple of years, and the person I first heard do motivational speaking, Les Brown, it's the first, I mean, I was like 19 at that time. He was like, oh my gosh, maybe one day I can do this. And so I encountered someone who said, hey, I can connect you with Les. And so I had a phone call with him. And I've said this before, if you've heard it, forgive me, but I'm talking for a while and Les says, you know, I think the biggest problem here is you don't know what you don't know, but you think you know, Valorie.
Wow, I hadn't heard that one.
Very
Me neither.
humbling.
That's so great.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Les.
Yes. And I was like, okay, well, let's tell me what I don't know.
Mhm.
And the reason I think of that, and that was powerful. Like he didn't say it in an ugly way at all. And it was true. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I was doing some things marketing wise that he was like, that's not going to get you more speaking engagements. But as you're talking, Lisa, I'm thinking about that for coaches,
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And my experience early in my coach training, similarly to what you said, is they said, oh, just use your intuition. Oh, it was very anecdotal.
Yeah.
And I'm not batting away intuition, because we do think intuition is an important form of intelligence, but it cannot replace facts and things that are, we know to be true. And so it's supplemental. And I always felt that sometimes when I was being trained, I didn't feel people really believed what they were saying.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of an excuse. Well, we haven't done the research. So in order to excuse not using research, we'll just kind of say that that's not important. And that for me felt lazy. And I knew that coaching worked, and I wanted to understand why it worked.
Yeah.
And I wanted others who were going into coaching to understand why it worked. And that's why this positive psychology foundation, the study of human flourishing, to me was so important. So when you talk about that with regards to neuroscience, I'm thinking, what is it that you don't know? And you might think you know. And how powerful can that be? Michelle, similarly with pricing, proposals, and profitability, and we're just covering two of the classes that are within in APC. They're all like this, and it's been amazing, the feedback from our pioneer cohort. Like, they are having such a good time in all of these classes, learning so much and up leveling. You've been through CPEC, Michelle. So when you look at pricing, proposals, and profitability, how do you see that course in particular helping our coaches up level to kind of go to the next level when it comes to their marketing and really landing these profitable opportunities as coaches?
Sure. Great comments from Lisa. I was just in your amen corner. There are some things that actually build that thread, like I said before, through CTI, but then also through these classes I'm seeing as well. One of the things that we start off talking about in this pricing and profitability course is understanding your value, which is really core to positive psychology. And I'm glad we're talking about the science, whether you're doing positive psychology or you're doing neuroscience, or you're doing both, because that's a differentiator. And we talk about the things that you can list that actually set you apart and raise your value when it comes to what you're going to bring to the table as a coach. That separates you when you start to think about, how should I price myself? And so there's some thinking that happens throughout the course that allows people to really evaluate things that they may have not even thought of about themselves. And 9 times out of 10, they find out that they have undervalued themselves. So they start to think, how should I price myself? Because I have these values. I say values with a small v, and here's my big value with the big V, right? You got to consider all of that. And that right there actually takes us, it takes that thread that you have started to needlepoint, if you will, Valorie, from CTI. When we first started to think about, what are the motivations? What is my value? What's driving me? And so we take that in the beginning of the course, but throughout it, we start to build on the business propositions and things that you need to know about how to calculate return on investment. A lot of people don't even know their number. And by that, I like to say your number is that big number that you need to make in order to live comfortably and that your business can be profitable. And so that's more than a budget. It's also aspirational. And year over year, you should think about what that number is going to do for you if you need to increase it, and how you're going to do it without breaking your neck or breaking your bank, because it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say is that when I came through CTI and also CPEC, I also had some knowledge that I brought to the table. You already know that because Valorie told you I ran an agency for about a decade. It was a different platform, different capabilities, different business model. But I was very curious to know if my sensibilities that I'd learned in that business realm could transfer. And a lot of it does in some ways. When you start to think about the value of your capabilities and not just on an hourly basis, because if you run an agency, if you're in consulting or IT, you may have an hourly rate. But when you start to think about the value that you bring on top of it, you begin to charge in a different way. Things today, because I've been in business for more than 25 years, I'm going to date myself, almost 30 years. I understand that there are things that I can do in 5 minutes that I couldn't have done when I was more junior. Do I charge by the hour? No, I charge based on my expertise and experience and all the other things that come to bear. That I have several books out there that, I have, the business acumen that's come to the table that I can actually share with folks, even in trainings, and even in courses, that complement the coaching. So there are things that you have to think about. The other thing is that I wanted to make sure that I evolved the business learning that we get through CTI and CPEC to complement today's business environment and technology environment. So there are segments in the course that touch on how to leverage AI in order to build your coaching business, or using workflows in order to manage that time and effort that you're putting into it. Maybe you don't need to hire that person. Maybe there's an AI agent that can do it. And we talk about that technology and how not to be afraid of it. And also, I would talk about the rich media proposals that you can share that will show your clients that you're not only cutting edge, but you're thinking about them because they're busy. And
She's so
you know
good at
what their
that part.
lifestyles are like.
I'm just going to pause you there. This
Okay.
was each part of me saying, Michelle, can you help us with this? Because you've shared with me proposals, and I'm like, I have
Yes.
never seen it done this way.
Yes.
This
And
is powerful.
And to Lisa's point about how intuition grows with wisdom over time, there was a point when I was in client service, even in PR, that I couldn't anticipate what that client needed. But over time, when you have years of experience under your belt, and I encourage all of you that have come from different industries and found yourself in coaching, you can apply these things. Just knowing that this particular person that she saw the proposal for was a busy sports executive with the NFL and also across some other like Fortune 100 businesses, and that this man was on the road 24/7. And he wanted me to give him a proposal. And I thought to myself, now I know how executives take in their information. They want probably 3 bullets and I'm gone. You better put the rest in the appendix. But then he didn't have the opportunity to really read because he was going to either be behind the wheel of a car going from small town to small town, or he's going to be on a jet, probably sleeping because he didn't sleep the time before. So I thought about it and I said, well, let's think about his psychographic. He probably listens to a lot of information, or if he could watch it, he could probably digest it. So in that very moment, I decided to turn my presentation into a video with full voiceover. And we have applications now that are very low cost of entry. Some of them are free, where you can edit the video, turn that slideshow into a video, and let them listen to it. He came back to me and he said, you know what? Can I first tell you, I need to know what tools you use because I'm telling my whole team to use this idea, not just to communicate to me because that was perfect, but I need them to start communicating to other stakeholders this way. And he said, I want to give you the business simply because this is amazing.
That is so cool.
This is what I'm talking about of what we're doing in this program. Her instinct, and I know even along my journey, some of this instinct has helped. When we talk about going to the next level, it is really doing what as coaches we're supposed to do anyway, which is stepping into the shoes of our clients, empathetically listening, which is a part of what we talk about in APC. That's exactly what this is. Empathetically listening, not thinking from your perspective, but thinking from the perspective of your prospective client. What are their challenges? What are they needing? And how can I meet those in a way that takes them to the next level, which ultimately takes me to the next level? Mm-hmm. This is what we're doing in APC. And I'm super excited about, Michelle, what you've brought to the program. Lisa, what you've brought to the program. We've got so many more. We're just finishing up coaching for leadership development, which is a course inside of APC that Christine DeVivier helped develop. And it's rave reviews, opening up your mind as you're dealing with leaders and coaching. What do you need to be thinking about? So we really want you to walk away knowing confidently that you have up-leveled yourself as a coach, that you are gaining coaching mastery, that you're actually empathetically listening, not just as a coach, but as you are marketing yourself as a coach. And then this other piece, and we're going to take some questions that each of you has actually touched on, is the marketplace itself has changed. I actually just finished the asynchronous course yesterday, which is a part of APC, which is called the Coaching Marketplace, helping you understand opportunities beyond having your one-on-one practice for coaching inside of organizations or contracting as a coach. So we're trying to help you understand this bigger $15 billion marketplace that is coaching. But the marketplace has changed. Clients are more savvy, organizations are more savvy. They are looking for you to be trained at the highest possible level. There are lots of coaches, as you know. You've already set yourself apart because you're a certified personal and executive coach. You've gone through really good training that is accredited by the ICF. You know, from the start, we talk about that. We don't sugarcoat the idea of training. We are like, look, if you want this to be a profession, then treat it as any other major profession. But going through APC, you're getting a new level certification, the Advanced Professional Coach certification. So this is the next level above your CPEC certification. This is important to us because it gets you to the 125 hours. It gets you really understanding the distinctions between the 3 levels of coaching mastery. And it allows you, as Michelle was saying a moment ago, to distinguish yourself in the marketplace at the next level. So I hope you can see what we're trying to do. We're so passionate about doing it. This, this builds on what you've already done as a certified personal and executive coach. And I know if many of you are like us, that love of learning, you understand the value of taking your education to the next level. So I'm going to open up for any questions that we might have. And I haven't been looking at the chat, so I think y'all have mostly been listening and not asking questions. But are there any ready for some questions? If so, there we go. Put it in the chat or take yourself off mute. I'm going to start with Brenda in the chat. And so Brenda is asking, have you made any changes to the program based on the pilot cohort? So we have not officially made changes. We will be releasing what our changes are. We have been doing surveys after every single class. So we are taking in all of the feedback, and we are using that feedback to improve upon the program for our next cohort. The most exciting thing to me is the feedback we've gotten from the pioneer cohort, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the understanding of how they are actually taking their practices to the next level. And so what we're wanting to do is to build on that. And just yesterday, I did a roundtable. This is something different that I'm doing. So this is optional. Whoever's in the program shows up. I teach, I laser coach, and I take feedback. So Alexis, who's managing the APC program, has been aggregating all of that feedback. And then we'll be meeting in February about exactly what enhancements we'll be making to the APC program. So thanks for that question. There will be some coming. Andrea, how are you?
Hey, Andrea.
Hey there. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, let's go,
Andrea
baby.
said,
Let's
sign
go.
me up.
I'm already signed up. Okay, so my question is for El Michelle. Do we say El Michelle or is it just Michelle?
You can call me Coach L.
Coach L. Okay, Coach L, this is for you. So
Okay.
what you shared is powerful. I'm pumped. And so I'm wondering, because to your point in CPEC with what LaFern shares, it's like, it's so good, but it's short. It's like a couple sessions. So I'm curious in APC, how long are the sessions around profit, proposal, and business?
There are 3 sessions, and they happen on 2 days a week. I think that's right. Is that right? So once a week.
No, it's once a week.
It's once a week, but 2 times a day. So if you miss the first part, you can always come to the second one. But those sessions are a little over an hour.
Okay.
And we're
Okay.
finding something different from CPEC is that we're finding that oftentimes the cohort members are going to both sessions.
Right.
The
Right.
other thing is that second session, and I don't know if we're going to keep it this way, but it worked out that way. There was so much material in it that you ended up with a hybrid session. So you had me live, and then you had a module to take with you that was video recorded so that you could look at it on demand. And of course, everything is recorded.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just hop in real quick before we
Yeah,
switch to the
Alexis.
next question.
Yes,
That is me.
Alexis.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I did just want to add that is an element of this APC program is more of asynchronous work in addition to the live class time that you get. So the schedule for live classes is going to look very similar to what you saw in CPEC as far as two classes a week on Mondays and on Wednesdays and for 1 hour long. But there's a lot more supplemental resources that are asynchronous. You can review on your own time, go back and listen to it. So that is an element in the APC program that we don't necessarily have in the CPEC.
Got it. Thanks. And I'm glad to have you back, Lisa. Yay. And
you
Valerie,
there.
I'm excited too that you're also going to be a part of it, it sounds like, or
Yes,
maybe.
I am, and I'm teaching in the program. So for example, one of the first classes I teach, besides the 3 levels of coaching mastery, which is asynchronous, is the 5 stages of success. So this is a new framework that has not been taught in CPEC. It's a framework that I developed a few years ago. It's rooted in research, but it's also just to help you understand that as your clients are moving towards goals, there are 5 stages that they go through. And if you understand those, no matter what your client brings, you can understand where they are, what that feels like, what that looks like, what questions you should be asking at that stage. What I have found in working with some of the highest levels of executives is it's not only eye-opening, but it reduces their anxiety and stress, because there are stages that often we like to gloss over because we're trying to get into action. So that's one of the classes that I teach in the program that is just, I think it's a game changer for you as a coach. So it's also a smaller cohort. So when we say, some are coming back for the second session, the cohort is smaller. So it's a little more intimate of a program as well, which I think you will very much enjoy.
And you teach the marketing class.
Oh yeah, I forget the marketing communication. Yes.
It comes so naturally for her.
Yeah. So really helping you to get clarity about your message, how best to present it. That particular marketing class is a workshop. So you're actually walking away with your content, able to begin using it right away and understanding how to create content that works when you have the opportunity to speak, when you have the opportunity to present in any way, and how you use that to usher clients into your practice. So I'm using my background as an author and speaker, which I was doing before I coached, which for me was a very organic marketing tool. It's not like I wrote books so that I could market my coaching practice, but inevitably writing books is why coaching worked for me immediately, because I just told my audience what I was doing. They were like, oh, great, sign me up. So I really broke down, what does that look like? What is it that you need to be doing and thinking about, and making it simple and easy to understand, I think is most important. Because, obviously with a background in journalism, writing comes easily to me. But for many people, it feels intimidating. So I make it not intimidating and something that you really want to be able to use in marketing your practice, not just the writing, but the spoken word as well. Those 2 things I have found to be the easiest and fastest marketing tools. And I want every one of our coaches to be able to utilize that to build your practice. So yeah, we've obviously got a lot of classes. I think we are sharing that. If we're not, we need to make sure we're sharing that in the follow-up to this session that we're doing today. And I'm excited that you've already signed up for APC, Andrea.
Me too.
Well,
thank you. I look forward to the journey.
Valerie, there's some questions in the chat if you want to switch back to that. Labrina and Lydia have a question.
Yeah, so Labrina is asking, can you speak a little more on the readiness for ICF credentialing? Okay, so let me speak on a couple of things. If you are ready to enter this program, that means that you should be at the point where, if you wanted, if you haven't already, you could apply for your ICF credential at the ACC level, which requires 60 training hours, 10 mentor coaching hours. If you have not done the mentor coaching experience, you can bundle APC with MCE. That gives you 10 mentor coaching hours. Lisa is one of our mentor coaches that teaches within MCE. And our goal there is preparing you for ICF credentialing and also giving you some of that one-on-one feedback. In APC, you're getting your feedback live in the advanced coaching labs that are a part of APC. You're also getting written feedback twice within APC before it is over. Okay, so you're submitting coaching recordings to us during APC. We're reviewing those and we're giving you feedback for how to enhance your coaching, what to do more of, what to stop doing. Okay, so we do that in the first couple of months, then we do it again, like the current cohort will have more recordings due in early February. And then, of course, when you submit for your APC certification, you will get feedback there as well. This aligns the program with the level 2 credentialing, the level 2 accreditation requirements from the ICF. When we finish this first cohort, we will be submitting the APC program for level 2 accreditation. Level 2 accreditation does require that you graduate at least 5 people, then you can apply. So we've done everything in line with that, and this spring we'll be applying for that. So that is some of the feedback you're getting. Additionally, there is a class within APC. It's one of the next live classes that I'm teaching in APC that is specifically a crash course on ICF credentialing. So we will be going through the process of credentialing and especially getting you ready for the credentialing exam, which changed dramatically about 3 years ago. And you see Michelle going, yes, it did. And you want to be ready for it. I mean, y'all, even I was sweating when I did my MCC credential in 2023. I was like, what is this? Because my ACC and PCC were done with that very simple multiple choice test, and they have changed that. And so we want to make sure you're ready. This is an important piece. So you'll have the 125 hours when you finish APC. Hopefully you're going to choose to do the bundle with MCE. Even if you've done mentor coaching, I highly recommend a MCE. We do it in a format that's very cost effective because it's 7 group coaching hours and 3 one-on-one hours. And so we feel you'll be ready. Every week we're hearing from our graduates about earning their ICF credential at every level, which is so exciting to me. So does that answer your question, Labrina, or do you have other questions to follow up?
No, that was actually great.
Okay,
and
good.
It's good to see you again, too.
Good to see you, Labrina. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, so Lydia said, how long is the APC course? How many classes? So the course, the total is 6 months, like CPEC. So we'll start in late March. We'll be finishing up in late September. The total number of classes, Alexis, do you have the number? Because I don't. In CPEC, it's about 11 classes. She said, not off the top of her head, but I'm going to say somewhere between 11 and 14. Like we said, we have asynchronous. Let me explain what we mean. The ICF allows training programs to have synchronous, which means live, right? Like what we're doing right now, and asynchronous classes. During COVID, they changed their requirements. So previously, no more than 20% of classes could be asynchronous. During COVID, that went to 50%. Really what that would mean for us is if we had wanted, we could make this all asynchronous. We didn't want to do that. And the reason I say that is because if you went through CPEC, which is pretty much all live, and you went through APC, you've already gotten 50% synchronous. But we didn't want to do that. But this does give us the freedom to classes in that 6-month period. There'll be a certain number of live classes, but we've added asynchronous ones as well. And so we want to give you as much content as possible that we think is going to take you to the next level. So 6 months, then you go through your certification process, submit your packet, and give a couple of months. Okay, Alexa says classes that you're going to be taking. Christy, I'm so glad you loved MCE. All right. Do you have a certain number of coaching hours beyond CPEC to succeed in APC? We want you to be coaching actively in APC. We expect that you already are. If you have, some people, we've got people in APC right now that graduated in 2014 from CPEC, right? So as long as you've gone through the program, the CPEC program, you're eligible. So what that means is some people may be at different points in their professions. If you stop coaching, we're going to be asking you to make sure you're coaching a few hours a week so that you're applying the learning directly. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up today? You know, I'm a coach, so I'm comfortable with silence. I'll give you a moment to think. All right, so this, obviously, we're going to be sending out the recording as well. Let me share a few things here. So APC is coming up in late March. Right now, we're in the early bird stage. So if you sign up now, you're going to get $300 off of your enrollment when you pay in full, or you can opt for the payment plan. I'll let Alexis share the details specifically of the cost there. And you need to register by March 17th. But if you register now, you're going to get that discount. I want to reiterate that, again, the program gets you to, along with CPEC, gets you to the 125-hour mark. You're actually going to be above that mark. If, in addition to CPEC, you've got training elsewhere, you may then get yourself to the 200-hour mark, which I think is fantastic. If you are looking at your CCE units and you're like, oh, I've got to have more hours to renew a credential, these hours count towards that. So I want you to just be kind of aware that you're going to get to that 125-hour mark, which is significant. When you're marketing yourself, especially to clients, and most of whom today have some understanding of coach training requirements, certification requirements, the 125-hour mark is significant. That is the minimum mark for APC, but on this kind of global level, that's your minimum training mark for a professional certified coach designation. So it just takes you to that next level. Most importantly, we want you to be confident in your skills as a coach, and you really deepen the learning. And it feels like in our cohorts and our classes, and I'm going to ask Lisa and Michelle to kind of share their experience here as we wrap up. But one of the beautiful things I'm experiencing in APC is all of these CPEC graduates who are like, oh, it's almost like I'm taking a breath and I am really sitting in my confidence as a coach as I build. And what that means is it's kind of relaxing a bit more in coaching, really embracing the process, trusting the process to work, noticing those nuances of things you might be doing that maybe are kind of crutches, right? As coaches, sometimes it's the filling in the silence, the habit of giving people answers, all of those kinds of things that you really finally let go of at that professional and mastery level. And that's what we're aiming for. Very importantly, we didn't want to stop at what does it look like to be PCC. We want to make sure every single APC graduate walks away understanding what mastery looks like and is aiming for mastery in their coaching. So Lisa and Michelle, anything you want to share as we wrap up and really have our graduates thinking about as they're pondering becoming an APC, going to that next level as a coach?
Jump in. I think one of the things that's important to note is that doesn't matter where you are in your coach business journey. Maybe you're not even considering doing a business. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you've been in this for a while. There are gems within these courses that will allow you to build, like Valorie says, to grow in ways that you hadn't before. There are going to be things there that you hadn't really thought of, new approaches. And because we use the coaching sensibility throughout our teaching, you get to do some deep thinking and some journaling along the way. So I really encourage you to be a part of the APC program because there's so much value that you can add to your practice. And for those who probably hadn't thought about starting a business, you just might. You never know.
And I will add to that. That was so beautifully expressed. I know some people are also internal coaches. They are thinking, I want to be able to do this within my job, or these are job skills that will help me as a leader or as a manager. And what you're going to learn with the advanced program is going to help you with all of those situations, whether you are coaching a peer, an employee, whether you're doing a couple of hours kind of off the side of your desk outside of your full-time job. Coaching skills are life skills, and they're conversation skills, they're communication skills. And the more tools that you have and the more insight that you have through the advanced program, the better you're going to be at all of that. So I would absolutely encourage everybody to sign up. And you're going to be with a wonderful cohort. You're going to be with a bunch of CPEC grads, people who love coaching, people who are energized by coaching. It is also an amazing community.
Yeah, and a cohort basis, just like we do in CPEC. And it's so interesting, Lisa, that you said that. Just yesterday we finished recording the Asynchronous Coaching Marketplace course. And one of the things that Sheila Carmichael talked about is how she took her coaching skills as a talent management director and began incorporating that into creating higher level results, which then led this global company that all of you are familiar with to say, you know what? We need to create an internal coaching program. So for those looking at doing things from an internal perspective, just understanding that up-leveling your skills gives you far more leverage to utilize those skills in the positions that you already have, and winning people over to understand, wow, what else might we do with coaching inside of our organization to get the results that we're looking for. So I want to just thank you for joining us today, being a part of this today. If you're watching the recording, I'm glad you're able to join us that way. My heart's desire is really helping you succeed at your potential as a coach and looking for those holes, those places that you need to shore up skills in order to go to that next level, whatever the vision is, whether it's internally coaching or coaching as a business. I really believe we've created something that will help you do that. There's a lot of magic in it, and there's, oh my goodness, the feedback we're getting so far, which we are going to be sharing in our next APC preview call, where we're going to be talking to some of the actual cohort members as they share their experience inside of APC. So I hope you can see how special this is, how passionate we are about really helping you go to the next level and to distinguish yourself as a coach. That's huge in this vast marketplace, but there's a lot of opportunity to do it, and we want to equip you to do it. So thank you so much for joining us. Alexis, did I miss anything?
No, you hit it right on the head. I just wanted to hop on one last time as we wrapped up. Let everyone know that if you do have any additional questions, if you'd like to talk through what the APC program looks like, what to anticipate, I have added my Calendly link in the chat. You can schedule some time with me. Happy to connect and answer any questions that you might have. And also just wanted to remind everyone about that special discount. So when you pay in full, you're going to get $200 savings automatically. And until February 24th, if you use the promo code SAVE100, you'll get an extra $100 off, bringing that savings up to $300. If you do want to opt into the payment plan option, which we completely understand, if that's something that is a little bit easier for you, that is going to be a deposit of $499.50. That's going to secure your seat. So make sure that if you're interested, go ahead and make that deposit right away so that way seats don't fill up. And your payments of $499.50 will start when the program begins in March. So we've got options for everyone, and just want to let you all know that I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
So Alexis, can you specify when they pay in full, how much they're paying in full, and also the date that the next APC cohort begins?
Absolutely. So when you pay in full, your total is going to be $47.95, $4,795. Right now, in that early bird discount, you can get that for $46.95. If you do the payment plan, that's going to be $49.95, and that's going to be spread out over 9 months once the program begins in March. Registration for the actual deadline will end March 17th, and your orientation will be March 19th. So right around the corner, we want to make sure that we get you in and we get you ready to go. And we're excited to have you take part in the APC.
All right. Thank you all for joining us today. And we are looking forward, hopefully, to seeing you inside our next APC cohort. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Again, if you've got questions, Alexis would be more than happy to schedule some time to talk with you. So we will see you hopefully soon. Have a great weekend, everyone.